Hey Geeks! Welcome back to the Geeksiders show. My name is Josh.
And I'm Anna.
And in this video we're reviewing Dark Matter Season 3 Episode 7 titled Wish I Could Believe You.
And if you haven't seen this episode yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler.
Okay, just when I had thought Joe Malozzi had outdone himself with the time loop episode, he goes and does this episode, and my gosh.
This episode was crazy.
It was so good. Six has been captured by the Ferris Corp and is stuck in a simulation.
Yes.
And they're trying to get the location of this secret meeting of the Alliance of Independent Colonies. And he won't give it up. And, you know, it was great because, like, everything felt a little off for a little while.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, well, you know, he's the sleeper agent, right? That maybe that's why he's being weird. But no.
Yeah, and, you know, after 3 came in, it was, I kind of suspected when Android talked to him about the coordinates, but when 3 came in and talked to him about the coordinates, I was like, this isn't real. But I didn't say anything because so many times when something seems obvious like that, it's not, because Joe will pull a fast one and then something else happens. But every once in a while, he likes to just let it in there, and so yeah, he totally got me because I was thinking, oh, this isn't real, but and then it turned out to not be real, and I was like, dang it, I should have said something. I knew this wasn't real.
and I love that, you know, every time Six thought he was out of the simulation, he wasn't.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fantastic. It was all the way down to where he would like look at a pill bottle he was looking at, and he couldn't read it. And I'm like, oh, he's still in the simulation because you can't read in a dream. And I know that from Batman the Animated Series. And I thought that was really cool that they touched on that. The one thing that confused me is I think it was the last time he was still in the simulation. I think 2 handed him like a data pad or something, and he looked at it, and we as the viewer didn't get to see the words, whether they were scrambled or not, but it was definitely implied that he could read it.
Yes.
So did they fix the simulation to where you can read in the dream? Did they
But I think that the key there is that you can't read in dreams. He wasn't in a dream, he was a simulation. And upon thinking about it, he had said previously, I can't imagine what would be on the medical screen because he has no medical knowledge, or the back of the pill bottle. I think because they handed him something that he would have knowledge on, he was able to imagine that knowledge.
Okay, I got it. That sounds right. I like it. Also, in this episode with Six, we got more information on his backstory than we've gotten on a character in a while.
Yeah.
And his backstory is so sad. Oh my gosh. He has a wife and a child, and near the end of the episode, he wants to, I guess, just go check up on them. And she has remarried and moved on.
Yeah.
And that's got to be just utterly heartbreaking. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that affects his emotional state. Because Six, other than 5, is probably the most emotional character.
Yeah, probably. He's very emotional. 6 is also, I mean, like, we don't have a whole lot of information on all of the characters yet, but I feel like as 6 was getting his memories back during the simulation, I feel like he's probably the most like who he was before the mind wipe. You know how like Rio and 4 are 2 completely different characters. I feel like 6 and Cal. 6 and Cal are almost the same person. They're still striving to do the right thing, and so I thought that was kind of interesting how just because you have the mind wipe doesn't necessarily mean you become somebody completely different.
I think 5 is probably pretty similar. 2 is radically different, and 3 is radically different. So those 2 have changed a lot from who they were before they had their memories erased. Not really erased, but blocked.
Yeah, blocked.
But yeah, I think 5 and 6 are probably pretty close.
Yeah, but 5, we haven't gotten a lot of her character in her flashbacks. Like, we got to see little bits and pieces, but we couldn't really see who she was as a person. Whereas 6's flashbacks with his wife and with the guy at the precinct, for lack of a better word, like you could really see who he was as a person.
Yeah.
And but I agree. I bet 5 is very much like how she was prior as well.
So every episode of Dark Matter ends with a dun dun dun, and in this episode, Android, she like comes out of her charging chamber or whatever, and she grabs a gun and she's pointing it at 3, and then she puts it down and goes back to her charging chamber. So what the hell is going on there?
Yeah.
Either she's been hacked by the people who are coming after 5, because we got something about that in the promo for the next episode, or
it could be Sarah. Sarah and 3 had a conversation, and 3 had talked about maybe having done something prior to the memory block that was really bad, and it seemed like she knew what that was. So that's our other option, is that it was Sarah figuring out how to upload herself into Android.
And she's very, very lonely in her VR world. And, you know, it could be something like she wants him to join her forever, so if she kills him, maybe they can put his consciousness into the computer with her.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of motivation, I think, for Sarah.
Yeah.
In that scenario. So I think that's really interesting. I hope we get the answer to this in the next episode, because this one's eating me. This involves Android.
Yeah.
And I gotta know.
Yeah, we don't like when Andrew's compromised. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta figure this thing out.
Android's awesome. Zoe Palmer is just absolutely fantastic, and we love her. All right, I think that's all we have for this video. If you have anything to add, please let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this review, you can tell us by dropping a like on it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video on social media.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.